Shut that. All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here today. We are going to be going over 5 questions agents get asked at holiday parties and then how to answer them. So it's kind of a fun one. I always like doing it this time of year on how to gain some traction and make sure that you are maximizing your party going experiences. All right. So, all right. You gotta move you guys out of my face here. All right, so questions. Are mortgage rates going to go up? So as you can see here in these charts, we are still at an all-time low for mortgage rates. So they are going to start creeping up, but it's never going to be a significant amount all at once. It will come up over time, but these are some ways that you can kind of answer those questions. So Colleen, do you want to take this one?
Second, I'm trying to make my thing bigger. Okay, sorry. Yes. Okay, so it's crazy. This is the craziest market it's ever been. It's literally never been a perfect time to both buy or sell. What you can do with some people who are kind of dragging their feet, not thinking about buying right now, but thinking about buying futuristically. Well, if it even goes, if it goes up even a point, that can be anywhere from $100 to $200 more a month that they're paying. That also puts you out of a different price bracket. So if people who do decide to wait, there's that possibility that it's going to jump. No one can ever really tell how soon it is going to go up, but they are going to go up. And so I think right now it's just best if you can and are able to kind of lock in a rate now, you will be saving yourself hundreds of dollars over time. Even despite the fact that even prices are on the higher end of the price range, you'll be saving money over the 30-year mortgage just because you're locking yourself in at a lower rate. But honestly, even if it goes from 3 to 4%, that can be anywhere from a couple $100 a month. So just putting that into perspective for buyers, it does make a difference.
Yeah, and I would also tell them in this scenario too, do the long-term gain. So if you're paying X amount now, that's going to save you over as Colin said, a 30-year mortgage. That's going to be pretty much nothing. Whereas if, as she said, goes up a point, well, you're looking at an extra $100 a month for the next 30 years. So just do that math. So it usually works out to be equal to or actually better than in the long run to buy now, even at what you say higher prices. And the other problem with that too is, that you're paying the higher prices, but you're not necessarily going to see a price reduction because there's no industry indicators that that's coming. So
right,
that's another piece to it.
Also, if you lock yourself in at like 2.8, which I think it is right now 2.8, you could take those extra $100 and apply it to principal and end up taking 9 years off of your mortgage just by buying right now. You can easily take that and apply those $200, which would you be spending later on if you waited towards your principal and reducing the life of your loan. So it's really just kind of just putting into perspective. People, regardless, some people are just so sticker shock at prices right now of houses, but if you get a lower rate, it's going to save you in the end.
Yep. All right. Next slide. There. All right. Sorry. Is now a good time to buy or sell? Great question, Uncle. Still at home, Tommy.
I was a little hyper doing these ones. Like I said, one.
All right. So the Housing Affordability Index from 1990 to today. So you can kind of see where it is all over the place. The red area is the years where distressed property dominated the market. So that was, you can see it's like 2009 to 2015. So this is really when that foreclosure bubble burst right there. A couple years prior, but it took a long time for the market to recover. So if you're looking at this chart, you can kind of see where you're heading into prosperity on that, green line today, where the distressed properties are not going to be a big factor. So even when they do flood the market, there's speculation that the government is just going to let the companies kind of put the loan, basically whatever's owed on that loan that's in default into the back end of the loan. There's a lot of different things and scenarios are out there. But even the distressed properties that are out there now have equity in them. So it's easier for them to sell it. And the banks do not want to hold on to mortgage notes, and they're not in the business of owning property. So they don't want them. They would rather you short sell them, you get out from a bad situation, and they'll take a little bit of a loss on it, but they're okay with that. And even in today's market, because of the equity in the homes, the homeowner generally is going to walk away with some money in their pocket and not having a 7-year of a problem with foreclosure. So you're not going to see that hit the market and affect a lot of the home prices, and that's why the market is going to stay pretty strong. The prices are going to stay high. They're not going to be coming down anytime soon. So here's some answers that you can use. Colin, do you have anything to add on this one?
No, just like saying, like, the low mortgage rate will help you afford more house. So on the flip side, as they increase, you're going to have less house that you're able to afford as they go up. So say you earn 300,000, you could afford 300,000, and it goes up to 3.5%. You now reduce your buying power to 250,000. So it's really, millennials it's going to be a big sticker shock once they see that, if they don't pounce on it now.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to end up pricing themselves out of being able to afford anything. If they wait, especially the ones that are in that 300 to 350 market around here, especially in Melbourne. It's really going to be tough for anyone that's, especially a first-time home buyer, if they're waiting for prices to come down, because that's what they're seeing as coming on Facebook or wherever they're looking. That's not the case. So they're going to be kicking themselves when the interest rates go up and they're no longer able to afford, because their buying power is now not there anymore. All right, our home price is going to keep rising, as we've talked about. Ask cautious Aunt Kathy. Okay, you get the point. So Aunt Kathy has, she wants us to make sure that the prices are, going to keep going up, and what does that mean for the industry? So, Colleen, go ahead and.
No, so people just say that right now a lot of people are just stalling. They're saying that they're staying where they are because they don't know where they're going to go once they do sell, and then a lot of them are saying they're just going to keep going up, or there's half the people who are just saying that it's absolutely going to crash. I personally believe that it's not going to do anything like that in the next within 5 years. I think it's going to steadily keep increasing. They're just, because people have too much equity in their property. There's just not enough inventory. COVID really threw a big wrench into the amount of houses that were able to be built, and people are moving, people can work remotely. So I sincerely do believe that houses are going to keep going up and up. So that means if you can afford another house, and if you have money to buy an investment property, I definitely think now would be the time. And if you know anyone, and just look at your sphere, if you know anyone that's sitting on a ton of cash, it just sitting in a bank, it loses 3% of its value every year because the cost of living goes up. So it's just, you're losing money actually by keeping money in your bank, as opposed to taking that money and putting it into investment property, especially right now, because houses are just going to keep going up and up. You hold it for 7 years and sell it again, you're going to walk away with a ton of money in your pocket, as opposed to just keeping it in a bank and losing money that way. So do the answer question? Yes, I do believe they're slowly, steadily going to keep rising, because houses are flying off the shelf still. But just like that, it's equally just as good to buy right now because of the interest rates. So I just say this market is just activity on both sides is good.
Yeah, it's definitely, I don't think you're gonna see these crazy price increases, 25, 30, 40% year over year. But as Colleen says, it's always gonna steadily appreciate. And that's strictly due to, low interest rates and also the equity in people's homes. So they're gonna be utilizing that equity. And I also think that the average investor is a bit more savvy now too. So, real estate is a great appreciating asset, and I think you're going to see a lot more people trying to get into that as well. All right, next slide. 5 reasons to sell this winter. So, Colleen.
The demand is strong. Buyers are ready, willing, able to purchase, and are in the market right now. Like I said, people can 50% of the jobs work remotely. A lot of people don't want to live in certain states, whether it be political, whether it be cold. They're moving, and they're moving to warmer climates is really what it's coming down to. Buyers, the ones who are looking right now, are very serious. A lot of people who take take this time off, they take for the holidays. But if you are working with a buyer that's really interested, they're probably going to make an offer at this time of year. It's the ones during the holidays that are the ones who are really interested and really kind of focused and want to put an offer in it, because they think that everyone else is kind of taking a back burner because of the holidays. So there's a little more inventory for them to look at. There will be if the next time you move, we into a premium luxury market, now is the time to move up. There's currently ample inventory to sale at higher price ranges. I'm just reading the slide, but it's just there's a lot of opportunity right now to invest. I know people think but where? But there are tons of opportunities to invest if you have the cash flow. I just heard recently from meeting with another person, another agent, that I guess Puerto Rico is a buyer's market. So you can get $150,000 property on the water condo for just $150,000, and this is in Puerto Rico, which is part of the United States. So it's like Rob and I are just really big into educating people on financial freedom, educating people on investing. So if you've ever thought about investing, Puerto Rico is a definite buyer's market. Everything's really low, so you can get instant cash flow by purchasing there. But regardless, if you haven't, just this type of stuff is just good. People are going to ask you when you're out with your family all these things, all the interest rates and all this opportunities, and I just say be excited about it and just talk about it. And they'll look like my cousin calls me all this. 2 of my cousins call me all the time and are like, what's going on? Like, tell me. And they I think part of it's they like the excitement, but B, they like the information.
Yeah, and I just had a conversation yesterday with, just to wrap up what Colleen just said, is the it's a financial advisor friend of mine in Massachusetts. They've been talking about moving to Florida for about 3 years now, and then they're finally like, okay, it's the time is now to do it. If we're gonna do it, there's not gonna be a better time to do it. So they're gonna, they've got kids, and they're very high C, so they're turning every stone over, making sure that the kids move. They want to talk to people that have kids their age and blah 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 blah. But they're now seriously thinking about looking and doing things and whatnot. And they've been talking about it for 3 or 4 years. And then I have another friend who's also talking about it, and they're all in that similar sphere. And the time is now. If you're going to do something like this, they can work remote. It's not going to interrupt their business practices too badly. And they put plans in place. So these are all conversations that you're probably going to have with family over the holidays and whatnot, even if it's not at a party. But they're going to ask you, like, what's the lifestyle in Florida? How do you see this? How do you see that? And just prepare like all the questions in your mind that, you can think of that are conversation pieces about what you love about where you live, what you love about the school systems around, or, whatever it may be. So that way, when you get hit with those questions, you kind of have, a good knowledge of why you're the local expert and why they should be listening to you about moving to the area. All right. Do I need to update my home before I sell it? So I'll take this one. So yes and no. So if you've got a lot of little things to do, little things can go a long way. Do you need to upgrade your kitchen? No. Do you need to upgrade your bathrooms? No. Do you need to do a lot of the things that traditionally you would need to do to get max dollars? No, you don't. Right now, as we've talked about, low inventory is a lot of things are going regardless of those things, and they're going for top dollar because people want to be in homes and they'll figure out how to fix it moving forward. So that's a lot of things that are going on. The next slide will show which updates do have the highest return on investment. So these are some things that you can say if you want to. This is what you can do that's going to get you money back moving forward. But right now you really don't need to do the big things, because a lot of times people are even waiving inspections, they're waiving appraisals, they're waiving all this stuff just to get the house. You don't need to invest a ton to get the max amount. But here's the top things that you can do, and you see it's all pretty minor. Touching up paint jobs on the outside, minor kitchen remodeling, if it just needs a couple of cabinet doors or whatever. She said there's not much that you need to do, but even still, the minor kitchen remodel, as you see, the return on investment, you're still losing money, about $45 or so.
Even as simple as like when Rob and I sold our Sebastian house, we just did, like, we touched up the door, we made a different color, Rob added 4 ceiling fans, and we added shelves to the closets, like something so still like a monkey could do, really ups the value of it. So it's just like, if you can do it, like it's so small, but people want storage, people want a freshly painted, like a different looking, people just want different, but they want that homey feel. But if you could touch up like anything and paint, I just think paint is just the easiest transformation on a house that can really up the value. People just like to see it, and it makes it look fresh and new. So in the very least, that's always probably one of the greatest returns to the cheapest amount of money.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, people want clean, they want tidy, and they want all this stuff to to look nice and be clean. Colleen, can you take this from here? I have to actually take a quick phone call.
Yeah.
All right.
How do I hijack this? Next slide. Sorry, guys. So is recession going to cause home prices to fall? Like I said, there's a lot of things in place. They are tighter on their lending. They're tight. Yes, you guys have heard this all before. People just, I door knock and I cold call, and people are always saying that there's going to be a crash. I sincerely just do not think there's going to be a crash for at least 5 more years. Like, there's just, everything steadily keeps on going up, and people have equity in their houses. And the reason why there was a crash is because they didn't have equity. They had all these lenders, they lent out so many loans to people, and they weren't able to pay them. And they were even able to find who owned the property because it was made up to a dock. So I sincerely think that it's just going to keep houses are going to steadily keep going up and up, to the point where if you buy, you're honestly going to have, at the rate of 5%, you're going to have equity, you're going to have money, you're going to be making money off of buying properties right now, just because of the rate of appreciation right now. So I don't think there's anything, I don't think there's anything to worry about for the next 4 or 5 years. I think they're going to keep going up and up. And so if you know anyone that's interested in buying or selling, or just if they don't like where they're living now and they want to move and go somewhere else, they could afford more house because of the rate of appreciation right now.
Yeah, and this bottom part right here really depicts what the housing market historically has done. 2008, again, that was kind of an anomaly, down 27%, but this was because of faulty and risky lending practices. So what really happened, and why the bottom kind of fell out there, was because they were just throwing out stupid money and letting people really lend on 5, 6, 7 houses without really having to prove anything, and just really bad lending practices and a lot of fraud going on as well. So that's why you see that. There's no indication that anything like that is going on right now. And you still see strict more like lending practices. You still see a lot of people that you've got to prove everything, and there's a lot more paperwork and procedures that go on. So you're not seeing anything like that happening as far as a bubble goes or any of that. There's still a lot of money out there to lend. The banks are still financially very strong. So you're not seeing any indication that it's going to crash. So I think that's something to really put out there. I mean, the only other decline where people lost money on their home was in 1991. And again, that's only a 2% decline. So everywhere else it's been appreciating, and there's never been a bad time to own real estate except for 2008. All right. What's the bottom line? Colleen, what's the bottom line? Besides the fact that I'd love to see a monkey install a fan.
Yeah,
I resent that.
No, this whole like slide thing is all about just being able to articulate this stuff with your family and friends. If someone comes up and talks about real estate, like it's all about that like just getting excited and talking about it. Because honestly, when Rob and I were in Massachusetts and we were talking about houses, like everyone around was just asking us a million questions and stuff about Massachusetts market, and now we're looked at as like experts, and so you can really solidify and kind of the relationship. That you're not just like a cousin, you're not just like a niece, or you're in real estate, and explain like my company, I'm able to help anyone and throughout the United States, but help getting contact. So if it comes up, I just say just know all this information, know like the interest rates, and know that the market's not going to crash, and just tell them about investing, and tell them about, hey, or if you ever wanted to sell, this would be the time. Like your house could get ton in our market, written multiple offers, things are off the shelf. So just telling this stuff, and like you can make a ton of money, like, and people will listen. And I just think that you just have this kind of preparation in the back of your mind when you are around your family and friends. And then I'm of course say I love referrals. Referrals are my favorite. Just say if you're ever interested, know anyone that's ever interested, just please use me. Like just think of me. But if you have these conversations, they will start thinking of you.
Yeah, and I mean, always, I think another thing to do too is take the listening aspect of people complaining about where they're currently living. Oh, I hate the snow. Oh, I hate this. My state's still locked down, whatever it might be. That's your in to say, oh, have you ever considered a move to Florida? And then, kind of work, or have you ever considered a move? And that will just get the conversation started. And then you can drop all these lines, because that will obviously bring up their objections to moving. And then, if they are really serious, then they'll be like, oh, hey, start sending me some stuff. Because a lot of times too, if you're talking to someone from up north, Massachusetts, New York, any of these places, they probably have enough equity in their home to just write a check, potentially if they were to sell their house up there, to write a check in full for a house down here.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times that happens too, and they don't even realize it. Like, hey, you could live in paradise and not have to pay any mortgage or any, monthly payments or whatnot. So that's something that might entice them as well, especially if they're getting closer to that retirement age. Now's the time to try to do that. Maybe they just take a home equity line out of their house up north, buy a house down here, and then start the transition. So there's a lot of different angles that you can work, but just have the conversation, ask the question that gets them talking about real estate, and then just kind of guide them. So that is the presentation today. If you guys have any questions, I'm going to hang out for another 5 minutes and answer anything you got. So just stop sharing.
Bonnie.
Hi,
I'm
Bonnie.
sorry I was late. I'm so sorry I was late, but it was a client phone.
It's a perfectly valid excuse.
So I had no choice but to answer the phone.
Good result.
Huh?
Was it a good result?
It's a rental client, so no, not yet.
Soon enough. Excellent.
And they want beachside or something comparable. So they're really picky about every little like thing. So but I'll get it. I'll get it.
There you go. There you go. Excellent. How you doing? How you doing, Kim?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Congratulations, Kim.
Well, thank you. I am right here. You get the
I got your
background.
local resident home inspector who's a little smarter than a monkey, but
We like that type.
How much? How's California?